Okay. All right. Yeah, yesterday's stream was a fucking mistake. I had the gain way up way too fucking high on my microphone. So now, hopefully, it won't be dog shit. It's screeching in your ears. Um, I find that I would rather just have the microphone be slightly quiet, but not distorted and exploding in your fucking ear. So if you gotta turn up the volume, I don't know what to tell you. I tried. I really did. I think the solution, well, no, I don't want to say that the solution is to buy a better microphone because I know it's not. Like, I don't fucking know. We'll figure it out. I'm just gonna say fuck it. I'm gonna stop being a perfectionist. Uh, just get the fuck back to doing this shit. I want to get this done. This is something I've been itching to do for a while now. Hold. There we go. Okay, that could work. The funny thing is that it's not just that I'm trying to draw the character. It's I'm trying to actually come up with how to draw. Like I had the vague idea in my head, but I've never actually gone out of my way to draw it. So I'm just kind of going blind here. Hence the reason why my method of character design is essentially just draw and erase until it looks good. Now, obviously, if I was working on a page of a comic, I can't. This would not be sustainable. This trial and error style, that would be a fucking nightmare. Oh my lord. And the sad thing is, it already is kind of that way. Oh, shit. Oh, okay. I was reading that the blind like the character. I was reading that. I'm like, oh god, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Oh, I get it. Because it was based off something I said earlier. That's what it was. Yes, going in blind. You know, one of my biggest pet peeves, not really a pet peeve, just something goofy that people will say every now and then. They'll say, Ouija, why do you hate the blind? And to that I say, I'm sorry, my name isn't Ouija. My name is Ouija hates the blind. So if you want to say, Ouija hates the blind, why do you hate the blind? I would reply, I never said I hate the blind. You're saying my name, which is Ouija hates the blind. If you want to know why Ouija hates the blind, go ask Ouija. I am not Ouija. Go ask Ouija plays or some shit. Holy shit. Where is... Okay, you know what this is? I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I'm pleasantly surprised with the direction of his hair part right here. Okay, now I see. All right. Nice big poncho. Hmm. This is why you got to draw the skeleton first. I used to love giving characters ponchos for two reasons. One, they look cool. And two, they make it very easy to cover up your poor anatomy skills. Now, what I'm going to do is, in a separate layer, establish the head, the skull, and that leads to the approximate location of the hip bone. And he's too big. He's too tall. His legs are sticking out of the frame. Okay, now I see. That works. There we go. Hmm. Okay, yep, shoulders too high. Yeah, the broad shoulders really don't do him any favors. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, yeah. Is all right. I had a phone call. I was on the phone for a bit, so I just put on speaker and was drawing while I was conversating. But then I forgot how to turn my mic back on. And then I realized the problem was that I unplugged it. Now, how the hell do I make this work? I just realized he is not in a southpaw stance. And that's a problem because he's left-handed. So to fix that, we're going to flip him horizontally. Oh my God, he's doing the Michael Jackson lean. Ah, jeez. Just gonna. Maybe a little. Just a little. All right. Okay. Oh, and maybe. Oh, shit. Oh, I closed down the browser. I can't make up my fucking mind with this. Hmm. Throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. Damn it. All right. You know, I know a lot of people have warmed up to stew, you know, but I have two reassurances. Number one, his story is is there. He has a story. It's just not this one, you know. He's his arc isn't a romantic one. All right, I'm gonna break him. I mean, he is a romantic. Like he is the Tom Sawyer of the group. You know, he's got that whimsy to him. But he can get bitches. Okay, if he wants bitches, he can get bitches. That's not the point. All right. No, but like this is. I promise you, Quebec will grow on you. He's a nice guy too. I promise. He's interesting. There's depth. There's layers to this onion. No, I've been every night for over a year now. I contemplate this. Okay, not every night, but many nights. I think, who is he? Why is he worth telling a story? Don't we want to know about Stu? Because I've asked these questions myself. Like I've also asked, like, shit, am I going in the wrong direction here? Is this guy fucking boring? But I gotta stick to my guns on this one. All right, this is his arc. This is his story. Because what other, what the fuck better time to have a blind character than in fucking body horror? I don't know. It's just now. I know part of it is like, well, it actually seems like the worst idea because then you know, then that the whole point of body horror is the visuals, but it's not about the body. It's about the body to everyone, but it's not about the body. It's about everything inside. Your whole fucking identity. Like who the fuck you are. Because the truth of the matter is neither of them really care about the physical appearance in the grand scheme of things. It goes deeper than that. It's just like the life you're living, the life that you think you're living versus the life you're actually living. What is it? The streaming quality is excellent. Excellent. But can't fucking figure this. I'm playing with every possible combination of leg movements here. Hmm. So what is the story about? What is it about? Why does it exist? I mean, at its core, it's nothing crazy. It's just, growing up. Bit of a quarter life crisis kind of thing. Well, maybe not quarter life. It's the in between a quarter life crisis and a midlife crisis. I don't know. You have two people, you know, both are in different extremes. One is one isolates themselves, and the other is extremely dependent on a certain person. and they refuse to trust anyone else because they don't like change. They don't like change. They don't want, and that's Quebec in this case. You know, him and Stu, they are partners. Now, a fun fact about these characters is that they were partners in my head canon for fucking years, probably since I was in middle school, probably like in the early 2000s, I'd say. Um, Possibly as early as 2010 have I created these characters, and I remember it was the only frame of reference I have for it is Mega Man dies at the end, which is like this webtoon. Hold on. Oh, okay, closer to 2012. That actually lines up pretty good. Yeah, 2012. Actually, but the whole gimmick was that they're partners. Okay, you know what? I think I know what I need to reference. Okay, now I see what I have to do. We just gotta rotate the arm a tad. Just a smidge. Oh shit, that fucked it up. Okay, just a smidge. God, you know. Ah, Jesus Christ. I've suddenly, the other day, I was talking about B3313. Now, some of you might hear that and you'd be rolling your eyes, thinking, oh, brother, this guy's on again about B3313. And I'm sorry. I can't stop thinking about that game. I love it so much. Uh, and I want to play it. It's it's just it's such a strange um type of game because you don't play it to beat the levels. Like there are levels and there's a hub world. It's the most jank, insane, horrifying hub world you can imagine, but the hub world is the game. Finding the levels in it of itself is the game. Trying to map out the hub world. Something you normally wouldn't do, wouldn't have to do by conventional means. You know, it's the same reason why people love Dark Souls or From Software games and they loathe Ubisoft games because nah, I can't. I don't play many Ubisoft games, so don't quote me on this. But from the gist of it is that when you play a Ubisoft game, you just get this fucking laundry list of shit to do, points on a map, all of these little things to do. Holy shit! Just to you know exactly what to do, you know exactly what you're gonna do, and you got to deal with it. Whereas you know the famous From Software games, they don't tell you what to do. You just do it. And Mario B3 through and 3 gives off the same energy. You just run around, just explore, find something. If you get a power star, great. What do the power stars do? Jack fucking shit. They don't mean anything. They're completely pointless. Okay, I need to fix these arms. I know I'm onto something with this guy. I know I am. Oh shit, okay. God damn it. How the fuck do I make what have I gotten myself into now? Jesus Christ. Okay, plan B. Okay, this actually kind of works. This could work. Okay. Oh, it's you. I see you. Yep. Yes, it would seem as though you did make it to the stream. I don't know how long that comment has been there, but I see it now. I'm just I'm trying to decide on a pose for this chart. I have all the volumes, but for whatever reason, volume 2 and volume 5 were the ones I haven't done, and I'm trying to decide. And now I drew this one first. But I don't like how he stands so tall, because the pose has to convey the vibe. And by volume 5, he just does not give a fuck. He's just fucking done. Alright. Yeah, that works. I still have to tweak it a bit. It's like a ton of... Just start the whole hand from scratch. What does the right hand look like from that position anyway? Shit. Oh, okay, that works. I think I was on something there. Nope. Okay, I'll go back. No, no. Hmm. No, I'm just winging it. I don't know how long I'm going to be streaming this time. I know I rolled a heads today, but you don't know what that means. You don't know what it means when I roll heads. Uh-oh. The audio is taking a shit. What does that mean? Okay. The current audio stream, the audio stream's current bit rate, 0, is lower than the recommended bit rate. We recommend a bit rate of greater than 0. Ah, understandable. That's going to be a problem. Well, in the meantime, I'm going to get back to this. But yes, I am itching to play more B3313, which, as I've stated, love that game. Now wait a minute. Okay, this is gonna be a fucking bitch. Oh yeah, yeah, the Mario ROM. I spent so much time just gushing about it the other day, and I think just an hour ago, not even like 10 minutes ago. I think right before you joined the stream, I was just rambling about that game. It's my favorite thing ever created by a human. I I guess I could just. I'm trying to remember where I left off when I was rambling about it. I was mostly just talking about how the game in regular Mario 64 you're getting stars, but in this game the stars don't mean anything. It's just the game is the hub world. It is the like it's the opposite. I don't know. Now that I'm trying to explain it to a real person and not myself, it's way harder to describe it. But the game, the experience of just trying to figure out where the hell you are or where you're going. Like normally games, they make it very clear, like, okay, now we're in World 2, and here's the levels for World 2. B33 says, fuck you. I don't know where you are. I don't know where we're supposed to go. Good luck. There is no cohesion. And just trying to figure out where you're going is half the experience. Trying to map out the game. It's so insane. There's like a whole dedicated community of people that have like tried to map it out. Now, I'm not really a part of that community because I'm not that invested. But I love the game so fucking much. Every night I would not recently, but for a while I would come home, get high. Is it randomly generated? No, that's the thing. It's not. You would think it was randomly generated or like they just put into some sort of algorithm. No, every room was like it was like meticulously crafted so that every time you enter a room, it's the same. It's not like it's not like you walk into a door and you're like, oh, I wonder where it's gonna take. No, if you memorize it, you can go anywhere. Like name any place. There's a way to get there. It's so convoluted, and I don't know how the hell he managed to the creator of it. I don't. I from what I understand, there is some drama. There is some internal drama. Uh, Nothing crazy, I don't think. Um, I might be no DMing children, none of that shit. There was another story about that. Someone was discovered to do that, but I don't think I don't know. My an understanding of this drama is that I want to say it was just creative differences. I want to say it was just that. Don't quote me on any of this, but there's this guy Chris or something. We're gonna call him Chris. I think it is his name is Chris. He's the core developer of this. He's the one that started it all, kind of capitalizing on the every copy of Mario 64 is personalized meme. But then he just went on a long hiatus, just kind of stopped working on it for a while. So for many, it was assumed that the project was abandoned. So some people got together and they revived it. Um, they added some levels, fixed some bugs, all that stuff. Chris did return, but I don't know if he actually worked with these people or if he was just doing his own thing. I know he was in contact with people and there were some feuds. I think in the grand scheme of things, it was just creative differences. So he has an incomplete project. Some people come along and they finish it on his behalf. Then he comes back and makes his own revisions. So I think the current latest version. So now there's like two split versions. There's like it's like a fan mod to a mod, and then the original by Chris. Then the one I've been playing is version 1.0.2, which is the latest version by Chris. I really hope his name is Chris because I've been using that a lot. That's a very bare bones oversimplification. But that's the gist of it. And I am trying to draw this guy's fucking hand. That looking stupid. No, that looks fine. Let's back up and see. It's I don't know. I think I might have fucked up. But and that's not like there's a whole video like going over the iceberg. I remember I was playing the game for a while. I would get really fucking high. I think I did a stream recently where I got high and played B3313. And the whole time, little did I know, the mouse cursor was on the screen. That was fucking great. Okay, I think I need to go back and yeah, okay. We're just gonna restart. Restart the hand. That was fine. I think the hand was fine the way it was. It's so funny because, like, not to sound like an elitist, but I get so much more enjoyment out of that game, that ROM hack, than any game that has come out in the past 5 or 10 years. I can't explain why. The game just speaks to me. And it's like it sometimes it genuinely terrifies me. And I love it. I love it for that. I love that sort of liminal space horror. And I know there's people out there that are sick of liminal spaces, and I completely get it. I completely understand. There's, it's like, it's not scary in the traditional sense, and I can totally see why people would look at liminal space horror and think, "What the fuck is this? This is just an empty room. So scary, an empty room. Am I being chased? Is there a monster? Where's the ghouls and goblins? This isn't fucking scary. This is stupid. It's not even eerie. It's just an empty room with a 90s vibe." But I wholeheartedly accept that it's not for everyone, but I love it so much. Yeah, just it's the uncanny valley. Like it's close, it's so close to being something familiar, but it's just off ever so slightly. And in the case of B3313, it's like this game that at face value is pretty normal. And a lot of the rooms are totally normal. Like especially in the beginning of the game. You just, I mean, don't get me wrong. In like as soon as you start the game, you can just like take two left turns and end up in fucking Creep City. But but generally speaking, as a casual player, they're gonna play through the levels, and it's gonna seem normal. And honest to God, 90% of the time, it really is just regular Mario 64, just a bunch of weird levels. Um, and I'm not gonna say that every room is perfect. I'm not gonna say that every level is fun to play. Thank Christ for save states because I don't know how I'd get by without that. How far out does this jacket need to go? Okay, yeah, its jacket needs to go down a little. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. The name B3313? Are you asking if that stands for anything? I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea. That you know what? I think it does mean something though. I think there is an answer to that question. Um, build 3313, maybe. Let's see. Okay, yep, I was correct. The B stands for build, and okay, the name B. I'm literally reading the first Google search. I'm doing what employees at hardware stores do when you ask them about something. They just look it up on their phone. The name B3313 comes from a series of coincidences. His name is Chris. I was right. Chris has experienced regarding the number 33 and 13. B stands for Bill. Okay, so I guess it's a complete and total inside business. For whatever reason, the numbers 33 and 13 speak to him. They're his spooky numbers, his lucky spooky numbers. And he just put it in there because he felt like it. And it does sound like a build. The whole premise kind of makes sense because the idea is that, oh, I stumbled upon this early build of Mario 64, B3313. Must be some random code they chose because there's so many builds, they just name it whatever. It's like the way they name stars. They'll come up with all sorts of random codes and letters and names meaning all these little things. But yes, B3313 is just it just is that. I'm trying to think. I Yeah, there's so many things. Apparently, the whole game, it's like it spies on you the same way Mark Zuckerberg spies on you on Facebook. Everything you do, it actually tracks what you do. How many times you jump, how many times you die, how many stars you collect, how many doors you open, how much you're moving, how much you're standing still, and it'll actually change the game based on those parameters. And it's so arbitrary that people who are obsessed or like even more obsessed with the game than I am still haven't figured it all out. And there's just so much random jank. There's a button if you like in a random ass spot, like in this random you go through some doors, you get lost, you go into this one room, you go down a warp pipe in this garden, and it takes you to this giant empty room. and in the center is this yellow button, and you don't know what the fuck that button does. But if you step on it, it scrambles your stars. Like, it just randomizes all of your stars. So some levels where you already got the star, it takes it away. Some levels that you haven't even been to yet, it adds a star, and it doesn't tell you. And the funniest part is when you hit the button, it like a text box shows up, and it's complete. Okay, that is completely random. It'll pick any dialogue from like any part of the game, and it'll just play it at random. And another fun feature is, oh, so yeah, the rules of the game are there are yellow stars. Yellow stars are worthless. They don't mean jack shit. I think there are a couple spots where if you have a high star count, then you can pass through. So it's not completely pointless to look for stars. But the real the big kahuna is the red stars. The red stars are actually how you progress. And when you first play the game, you can't even like long jump or whatever. You can triple jump, but you can't long jump. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna make it so that his shirt is not tucked in. Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. I have a completely different setup for between these two jackets. Okay, it's 2 dash lines per square. It's like a quilted blanket poncho thing. That being said, the game is spooky, and I'd be lying if I said there weren't some spooky moments. Admittedly, a lot of them you do have to really go out of your way to find them. Sometimes, if you play the game long enough, it is inevitable that you're going to run into something at some point. You're going to run into something really weird, really unsettling, and if you really look, then you'll find some real fucked up shit. Like I'm talking like actual jump scare shit. I should say jump scare. It's like jump scare relative to what you can make in Mario 64. It's not like it's a fucking Gmod PNG screamer map, but it's like I'm trying to think. It's like the piano. Funny thing, I was never bothered by the piano as a kid. A lot of people, I don't know if you're familiar with the piano, the haunted piano, but everyone swears up and down it was the bane of their existence as a child. That wasn't me. That was I was never too phased by it. Like, don't get me wrong, it would it'd give me a bit of an adrenaline rush as a kid, but never did I like fall like was I like waking up in the middle of the night in fear of the fucking piano. But something in the same vein as the piano, but worse. Voices of the Void. Yeah, I if let me look that up. Oh. Oh, that's one. Oh, it's an itch.io. Oh my. I'm taking a look at this game. So yeah, it there is I'm trying to think. The game is how you say tweaked a bit. I'm trying to think. Definitely you're definitely going to want save states. But the fortunate thing is even if all you're doing is just walking around, open a door, jump a couple times, you'll get a pretty good experience. You don't like the first like few hours of the game is a magical experience, especially if you play it blind. It is I don't know. I'm probably way overhyping it, but that's only because I don't gush about games often. I don't know. It scratches. I'm heavily biased because when I was a kid, I didn't have a Nintendo 64, but a relative of mine did, And I loved going over to his house because he had the N64 and we'd play in his basement and it was fucking fun. Um, so yes, childhood memories definitely play a significant role in my obsession with Mario 64. But so I can't say for sure how well it's going to translate to someone that doesn't have that special connection to Mario 64. But it is like in terms of like even just raw liminal horror, you will get lost. You will go through so many doors, and eventually, and if I was to tell you, okay, now go back to the beginning, you're not going to know where the fuck to go. It is so easy to get lost. Like there are so many rooms, and they're all different enough so that you like. I'm at a point in the game now where I think I've been close to almost like say for like just a few rooms, I recognize every room, but I could not tell you how the fuck to get there. And I've been playing for I think I'm trying to remember because I play on the parallel launcher. That's the there's probably YouTube tutorials that explain it better than I could, but the parallel launcher is the particular emulator for the Nintendo 64 that they recommend the most. If you play it on a different emulator, it gets kind of slow and laggy. I think the first time I played it was on Project 64, um, which is kind of the OG emulator. Or it's one of the earlier ones, I think. Or it's one of the earlier ones that was very successful. But what am I doing? The oh shit, I completely lost my train of thought. There. Oh, now okay, now I remember. Yeah. So I played it on the Project 64 and it was glitchy as fuck. There were so many rooms where it was so big and it was so much jank that the game would run like 2 frames per second. There actually is a build that is compatible with the original Nintendo 64, and that was actually made by I mentioned this earlier. There was Chris, the original creator, and then there was this revival team. I don't remember. I think it was called like B3313 Revived or something. Was that what it's called? Well, it was called something. Okay, now this is gonna bother me. I need to figure out what that was. Unabandoned. That's what it was. Unabandoned. So that's the separate one made by a separate team. So the unabandoned version or the unabandoned team or whatever, they made a version that's compatible with the original Nintendo 64. You just got to get like an EverDrive or something or one of those fancy cartridges where you just plug in an SD card with the ROMs and then you can actually play it. I actually did this at some point. The problem was that one, you don't get save states. Now I know not everyone wants to be a cheating bitch like me, but that game is one of those games where save states will make a huge difference. Um, because not every door leads to a new area. Sometimes a door or a warp pipe or a trap door or what have you, it literally just takes you back to like really far in the beginning. So there are I was watching a Simple Flips. Yeah, he had some streams where he played it, and it was a running gag where he kept finding himself getting sent back to the beginning. So moments like that, save states are a godsend. And even if it's not to spare you from that, just like being at a fork in the road and being like, okay, I don't know if this is going to take me to the same place I've already been, or if it's going to take me to a brand new place. I'm going to make a save state. I'm going to go through this door, and if it ain't anything interesting, I'm just going to load my save state. Um, I'm gonna volume 5. Okay, now Oh yeah, don't worry about going completely off topic. I do that almost every 10 minutes. Um, Working title is East. Um, I think I No, I know I did. I shared a post about her before. Yeah, I remember a lot of my earlier posts, especially before I got featured, or maybe it was after I got featured. I don't remember. I just like to keep it vague. I don't know why. I feel like if I reveal too much, that kind of kills the hype. I think that happened once with someone. I don't know. The problem is it's going to take so fucking long to finish the story that if I just spoil everything, then that kind of ruins it. Um, Understandably, you kind of have to at some point if you want to share the progress of creating it, creating the whole fucking thing. This is a fucking mess. Yeah. One thing that's funny is this I'm trying to think if this is even worth revealing. The two characters existed before I even had them be like directly related like that. Um there's three arcs. And the arcs I have the tentative title is Borealis, and the first one is Borealis. This is the story, the one I'm drawing right now. This is Borealis, named after Aurora Borealis, obviously. The second arc is called Southpaw. Completely, well, not completely, but it's very separate. It's kind of a whiplash because it's less focused on these characters and more kind of expands of the world. But the thing is, that story, that second story, was the original story I was working on. This was never meant to be the main story. This was always like a side thing I thought of, like an origin story. This is an origin story, which is why it's so fucking crazy. Because this was never meant to be like expanded upon so much. It was like always like, oh yeah, yep, this character is born under these circumstances. What it was kind of fucked up. It is what it is. But then you expand on it, and then you create these characters, and you remember, oh shit, that's right, I'm supposed to put these people through actual hell. Um, but yeah, the first story takes place in Canada. The second story, the story kind of shifts to Antarctica, and the whole world is more involved now. Um, with this cosmic entity known as the Aurora. I just realized his arm is jank. This is the shit that bothers me the most. Jesus Christ. Hmm. Okay, we have the precursor for everything now. Hmm. I like how this guy goes through his own changes. Um, the prologue is actually based off of my original design for him. I always had this idea that it's like I think it was based off of a character I made in Bloodborne. Like I think like Bloodborne was like heavily played a heavy influence on the vibe of this character. Um, at least later on. I mean, he always had like black circles for eyes. There was a time like early on, his original design, all the way back in like when I was in sixth grade, was a stick figure. Um, he had like the white spiky hair, or I don't even know if it was white. It was just it didn't have any shading. It was just could have been blonde for all we know. But a stick figure, you know, fuck it. Yeah, I'm just gonna draw it right now. It was just okay. It wasn't that like I knew how to. I'm drawing him. I didn't draw him like this. The body with the head was not that big, but it was something along the lines of oh, and he had a Cat in the Hat top hat, something along those lines. I swear it was a little more detailed than this. I probably took more time to like bend the hat a bit. I don't know. He wore like a Cat in the Hat hat. I don't know why he wore that hat. Yeah, more like that. Except he wasn't so fabulous. He was just kind of. Did he have feet? I think he just kind of stood like that. Yeah. There was an idea to give him a top hat again. I don't know. Maybe he used to wear a top hat. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think. You know what? Was it based off of Fancy Pants? That Flash game? Oh yeah. Yeah, okay. Kind of the same vibe as Fancy Pants, where he's just got like some spikes around his head. Except his goes like all the way around because his hair is more grown out. Um, somehow after life experiences and playing Bloodborne, this hold on, this was the design that I came up with, and that's the way it was for a while. Up until I'm trying to think. What was it? I think it was from the Invincible comic. I never read. I don't think I even watched the Invincible show on Amazon. I never even watched it, but I was curious about it. So I watched like this YouTube summary of the whole comic series, and there's this character named Rudolph Connors, and he like takes the body, but like long story short, there's a part way later in the comics. His hair is like really grown out, and it's like this mid part, and like this long beard, and I don't know why, but it kind of I thought it was cool. His hair has always been like kind of like fucking Wolverine, where it's like slicked back but also floofy. I wanted to try like a more how you say like the takeaway I remember was that the hair had this. Oh my god, now I can't even remember it. Okay, the blindfold. One hair was kind of swept like that. Yeah, it kind of made this diamond shape right here. So this swept back, and this went down. And then he has the nose, something like that. So apparently you're supposed to like draw like a thing around the mouth, but that makes him look like a fucking Discord moderator. So I do my own thing where I give him a fucking cat mouth. Almost. Like very thin, faint lines to convey. Convey the idea. But the idea is that so I haven't conveyed this yet. I haven't mentioned this nor drawn this yet. But there's a part very early on in the story. So in the prologue, which is the first chapter, which is the comic that I posted that got featured on iFunny, takes place in the prologue. Like, and the prologue only exists as its separate entity. That's why I don't call it Volume One, because it's kind of self-contained. It's kind of self-contained. It sets the premise. It explains how the two characters wound up where they are, but everything that happens after that, that's where the real story begins. Which is something I'm half concerned about. I hope people don't get too attached to the prologue, and then by Volume One it just derails and it's like, oh, what the fuck is this? It's kind of like Metal Gear Solid 2, where like the first quarter, not even like the first mission is completely separate from the rest of the game, and it leads you on to think that the story is going to go in this direction, and it doesn't. Where the fuck was I going with this? Oh yeah, the whole thing I was trying to say was that the prologue, he's got these like mutton chops or these sideburns or what have you, and Stu, this is gonna be a thing. I promise you that there's gonna be a part where Stu is literally giving him a haircut and shaving him because he's blind and he doesn't shave, and that's actually a major point here. One thing I know for a fact is going to be a part of the story is he does not let anyone cut his hair except Stu. Stu is the only one he trusts to do that. And so he gives him like one last haircut, he shaves his beard, and that's why he has like no facial hair in Volume 1. But then shit hits the fan. I have a fairly solid idea on how shit hits the fan, but god fucking damn it, am I like I've got like 10 different ideas and all of them kind of work. It's hard to explain. Like they're in a nutshell, something has to happen that gets them separated. And I have bounced around so many ideas, so many reasons why. But the consistent thing is they're in their motel and like, see, even that's like the only thing I know. They're in their motel and someone is after them. I don't know how. I'm trying to figure out like how many people it is, where they come from, how that goes out, how the fuck Quebec escapes and Stu doesn't. I'm trying to narrow in on. I'm like all of these little things, all these little plot holes. Like I have the gist of what happens, but the details, and so that it doesn't sound really fucking stupid. Because I would hate for like such a major event that needs to take place get diminished by one dumb decision. Like my biggest pet peeve or something I would hate to happen is for the story to have this major plot hole, and then every time someone sees it, they're like, well, if this character would have just done this, they could have avoided everything. None of this would have happened, and everyone would have been way happier. That would be devastating. But yes, he cuts his. I keep going off track. This is what I'm saying when I say that you don't have to feel bad about changing the topic because I keep changing my own subject. I'm trying to talk about his hair, and then I went on about a long tangent about plot holes. But so over the story, his hair is kind of a tool to show how much time has passed. In conjunction with the girl's mutation, you have his hair growth, just him slowly becoming more and more unkempt and fucking crazy. In the prologue, he's not fucking the cleanest guy. The idea is that him and Stu are uh I don't know, that there's so much context that needs to be explained, I swear to God. They live in like this neutral zone. I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but you've probably seen some of my posts. There's like these animal people, and they are part of this world. Like it's like the dumbest way I could put it is this is a world where furries are real, but it's like regular show logic. You have all these people that are just completely different races or species or whatever, and you just don't question it. They're just part of they're just part of the world. Don't ask. So you have like these animals like raccoons and bears and foxes and all that shit. And they're in this neutral zone because humans are still like the dominant species in spite of the fact that animals have intelligence. And a lot of animals live up in Canada. Like they're in these places called nature reserves. And they function the same as they do in this world. Hmm. That is true. There is some inevitability there. And part of the tragedy here is that even if she didn't make these decisions that led to the mutation, her life wasn't much better. That's one thing that a lot of people need to remember is that her life was never really perfect. Like, that's a different subject. Oh shoot, I forgot it was. Oh, that Canadian furries. That's what I was talking about. Um, so yeah, Canada, all of Canada is like kind of a nature reserve, at least the northern side of it, the Arctic Circle. And nature reserves function the same way they do here. Humans aren't allowed. Just let the animals do their thing. Don't interfere. If they want to go to war with each other, let them. As long as they're not getting nuclear. There's like a whole bunch of like it's like a whole fucking Geneva Convention Center of rules and regulations for how different species interact with each other. Most of humans are they're in like the typical fucking places. I think like most of the continental US. Now, I don't know if it's called the US. I don't know if they're actually going to call it by the name of the country. I don't even know if it takes place in this world, what timeline is. I'm keeping it pretty vague. That's still a work in progress. I have ideas. Like, don't get me wrong, I have ideas, but I haven't settled on one yet. And for the time being, I'm going to leave that open in case I do come to a decision so that I don't have to fucking retcon anything. That's the biggest thing is that's why I'm so paranoid about revealing too much cuz I know for a fact that something will eventually get retconned. There has been so much retconning in the past like 10 years that I've been working on this. So many little things have had to change so drastically, and only now, and I'm finally like trying to like cement this, just get something out there. But so yeah, these two characters, they're in like southern Canada, and that's kind of the borderline between the human territory and the animal territory, and it's kind of this gray zone where it's kind of like a Wild West, except it's not a literal Wild West. Like it's not like cowboys and shit. Like there's still cities. It's like kind of just. I'm trying to think. I wouldn't say cyberpunk. Just it's like a big city. It's kind of grimy. There's a lot of organized crime, and they stay there because Stu and Quebec were raised by this government agency because they were experiments because they, for whatever reason, were involved with the Aurora. Their childhoods, for whatever reason, were involved with the Aurora. Typically, it's because a lot of Aurora phenomenon that takes place way up north. Because that's where the Aurora is most prominent. Um, but like somewhere around the Arctic Circle, there's like this mysterious like this anomaly. It's like SCP shit. You don't know what's going on, and they're trying to contain it or at the very least understand it. And there are a few isolated incidences. Now, I mentioned that the nature reserves are only for animals, but that's not the case for all of them. They could also be for certain groups of humans. It's kind of like it's like trying to think. It's like the same like the same logic with the Amish people. You don't really question how their lifestyle is gonna interact with modern society. You just let them be. You let them do their own thing. Same thing with like Indian reservations. That's why Aura's character is Inuit. She's Inuit because that is a race of people or a group of people who happen to bypass the nature reserve rule. Since they were already living up north, they just let them stay there. They just let them do their thing. They're a separate entity from the rest of Western society, but something really fucked up happens. Some anomaly happens. And the same thing is with Quebec and Stu. All three of them were like, for whatever reason, they didn't live in normal Western society. They were part of these groups, these tribes. In Quebec's case, he was raised by a cult. This cult that equally worshipped the Aurora, and they were kind of the ones that pioneered research on the Aurora. But they were a literal cult. Trying to pull like and long story short, they tried to do this experiment to unlock a gateway. They call it a gate to the Aurora. But something goes horribly fucking wrong, and it just creates this. I'm still working right now. It's fake because of course it is, because it's got to be freaky. It's got to be uneasy. We don't know what happened, but something happened. Something went wrong, and it led to the annihilation of their village, and it created this like. I'm trying to think of this ripple effect. Not like a typical, like not like a giant shockwave, but like certain like a ray cast or something, like just a straight line like shot through. And I'm still trying to narrow down. I've had a few ideas. One idea was like just it unleashed a bunch of fucking creatures and monsters that mauled everyone. Another was that it just was just like an explosion, or so it exposed them to radiation, so a cleanup crew came in and just shot everyone dead. I've had a few ideas, but something goes horribly wrong, and then this Illuminati group, they're called Compass. It's like the Illuminati of this world. They pull the strings everywhere. They take the Quebec, who's a child at this point. He's in a coma. They take him in and they do experiments on him. Stu is a similar case, but he's not from Canada. He's from like Eastern Russia, because there actually are native Russians of all people, like Inuit people, but in Russia. He's a similar case to that. I don't know what his race is. He's Slavic though. He is part of Russia. He's in like that northern area, but we don't really know yet. That's all we know. Not it's right now it's an anomaly, but it's also because I never really put too much thought into it. Anyway, the two of them are raised together by this organization, this agency. Yeah, none of this is explained either. Like this is like I don't think this information is going to be handed to you, anyone. They're raised by this organization, but eventually they decide to escape. And Stu, as mentioned, he is a sleeper agent. Quebec is blind. He's fine. He's not really bothered by anything. He's mostly just being studied on because he was in a coma, and he, in his dream state, was actually in the Aurora. He was in a coma, and while he was in a coma, he was actually in the Aurora. He was like one of the only people that ever went to the Aurora and back and lived. But he's blind, so he can't really describe it. But he was there. He was there, like some way, shape, or form, like spiritually maybe. So yeah, him and Stu both. They're these experiments. The sleeper agent was more or less like its own, also related to the Aurora, and for whatever reason, it's tied to his hat. If he takes his hat off, he becomes a fucking psycho Russian operative or whatever the fuck. And so, oh, what's this? Oh, okay. Viewers will experience buffering. Yeah, that's fine. They where did I leave off now? Oh yeah, so they escape. Kind of like that girl in Stranger Things. She escapes from the industry and then she's just kind of wandering off. But these two, they did it, and they stayed hidden for a long fucking time. And to stay afloat, they just do random jobs. It's like fucking Nico Bellic in GTA 4. He just shows up to this world and he takes a job from some low level crime guy, and that escalates, and now he's doing jobs with this person and that person, and they're slowly like gaining traction, and they're using their connections to like do research, try and see what they can find out about this organization, steal information, see if they can find a cure for Stu, so that he doesn't have to wear a hat 24/7, or God forbid, lose his hat and go on a rampage or lose himself forever. That in its own right, it's kind of like the story of Full Metal Alchemist when they're trying to find a cure for, or not, I mean, they're trying to get Al's body back. So many parallels, I swear. So they do that for years, like 10 years, and Quebec is blind, but he's very chill. He's pretty chill. He knows what's up. And Stu is this charismatic anomaly, this extremely extroverted silver tongue guy that just he can be friends with anyone. Um, of course, if he loses his hat, then he'll break their arm and probably stab them. I don't know, but they just have this bond, this unspoken, like unbreakable bond with each other. Yeah, like with in Quebec's case, he just has this best friend. Like he wouldn't like he's sort of like an older brother figure as well because he is slightly older. I don't know. It's weird. It's like this weird relationship. They have this unbreakable bond. They've spent their entire lives together, at least their relevant lives, and they can't. They're the only people that know each other's. So like even if they didn't get along, they still kind of have to stick with each other because they're the only people that can relate. And if one got arrested or found or caught, then that would put the other in danger because now the other guy could spill the beans. So they just kind of have to stay close with each other. Um, and after like 10 years maybe of them just working with each other, living life, shit hits the fan. They finally get caught. And this happens right as they're meeting Aura. So Aura is this girl. She was also affected by this cataclysmic event, except the agency didn't find her. She would just go on to live a normal life. She would have to her community, her people, all got wiped out, and she had to go live life and assimilate Western society more traditionally, less freakishly than Stu in Quebec, because their instances were more interesting, more extraordinary. So they had to do research on them. But for everyone else, they just said, "All right, here you go. You can live here from now on." I don't fucking know. I'm still working on more details there. It's possible that she didn't get. I'm just half of this shit I've only thought of very briefly. I'm just trying to. What's funny is that none of it, like all this information that I've given in the past like 10, 15 minutes isn't even that relevant to the story. Like it'll be hinted at and revealed, but this is the back end, the foundation that I'm working on right now. But yes, Aura, the girl, the one that mutates. So she is doing her own research, but not to cure anything. What she's trying to do is bring her family back. Like her whole village, like her whole childhood was just taken from her. And then she spent the rest of her life just obsessing over it, obsessing over every detail. Her like it's like and it gets to a point where she's lived so many years away from her community, from her culture, that she begins to question who the fuck she even is at this point. Like if she did bring them back, would they even recognize her? And that gets even worse when she starts to mutate and then she goes fucking insane. But the whole point of her is just nostalgia. Like her character is all about nostalgia and your obsession with your childhood and certain aspects of it that you have to slowly realize will never come back, and that life just goes on and it's cruel and fucked up. And she has to like it's about like what happens when you don't come to terms with that. What happens when you're so obsessed that it destroys your life, quite literally. So Stu and Quebec, they find her at a trade show. She's given a presentation, but she doesn't do a good job because she's so unused to presenting shit that she like passes out on stage. So they help her, and to make her they know that she knows stuff. By this point, they know that she has insider knowledge. So they're kind of using her. They're kind of using her because they know that she has information and they want to use it. They want to learn more about uh, this agency and the research and see if they can find a cure for Stu. But they don't just blur out all the info. They try to start steady. They take her out for dinner that night. They drop her off at her hotel. And for like the next week, this is where the comic I made comes in. I made that comic where she's just sitting in her apartment all sad and then Stu comes in. That's because the trade show was a flop. It went horribly wrong because she needs to do business to fund her own research. Like she does independent research for other people, for contractors, and then she uses that money to do her side research on the Aurora in secrecy in her secret Arctic lab. Um, and Stu knocks on the door asking her out to a date. A lot of people saw that comic and they're like, oh, this is going to be such a cute relationship. No, because the truth is, Stu is using her. He's using her. He's using his charm to get close to her. Now, that's not to say he doesn't like spending time with her. He probably does like have a bit of a like he could fancy her a bit. I could see him fancying her a bit, but in the end of the day, his goal is to get close to her. And truth be told, he does get close to her. Like he spends some time with her, gets to know her. Well, it gets interesting because this is Stu. Stu is is a bit of a bastard. He's a romantic. So a common theme is that he's like the flirtatious type. He's not one to turn down a chance to hang out with a woman. But yeah, so he does give her a good time. He does warm up to her. He uses his extroverted social fucking expertise to get close to her. And he says, "Hey, we're doing our own research. We could probably help you out. We're from an agency. We have all this information, and we could probably accelerate your research." They don't give too much detail, but they basically tell her, "Hey, we have information. You could use it. We could work together. How does that sound?" And she accepts the offer. And Stu is telling this to Quebec. Quebec is not sure how to feel about this because she'd be a bit of a third wheel. It's like half of it's because he doesn't trust anyone except Stu, and the other half is that he's just not sure how he feels about a third person being in the group at all. He's so set in his ways with Stu that he's not sure how to feel about that. And ironically, in the next like 24 hours, shit hits the fan. The agency finds them. I'm trying to work out details as to why now they found him, in spite of the fact that they've managed to stay hidden for 10 years. What is it about now that gets their attention? I'm still trying to figure that out. I've had a few ideas. And there's just so many questions. I'm also trying to figure out the details on how the fuck Quebec is able to find. Oh yeah, so shit hits the fan, and Stu makes the decision to take off his hat to distract the agency because they finally found him. But he knows that if he takes off the hat, he can go fucking ballistic and distract them, which he does. And then he sends Quebec off. They might have been. That is one idea I thought of. One idea too is that Quebec is extremely suspicious of her. Yeah, oh, that's a funny story. So originally I had her name spelt Aura as an Aura, but I felt that was too obvious, too on the nose. So then I was like, what's another way I could spell it? Maybe one that sounds more foreign. So I was like, oh, let's just simplify it. 3 letters, Aura. That sounds nice. But then it turns out that that's a onomatopoeia for when you're having sex with someone. And I thought about whether or not I should change it, but after so much time, I was like, you know what? Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna make that joke. Surely nobody's gonna make that joke. We'll find out. But that is one of the ideas I had. Like the fact that they were involved with her, maybe someone was spying on her, and then they just happened to found. There's a it's the one where it's the one where Daisy is fucking Luigi, and that's how the and it's that's a very specific example, but yeah. I'm 90% sure there's like a fucking feature that got featured on iFunny at some point. Anyway, so yeah, shit hits the fan. Stu distracts them. Quebec has his hat now, and he's running off, and he goes find Aura. It's kind of a parallel to before, where Aura's sitting, and then she hears a knock on the door, and it's not Stu. Now this time it's Quebec, who he's like fucking shot, and he's like, okay, we gotta go like right the fuck now. We need to leave now. Pack your things. Go. We gotta get the fuck going. We gotta go. And because thanks to Stu, she is pretty warmed up to them. By this point, she does trust them. Trust them just enough, especially because he has Stu's hat. Now, I am partially concerned as to how much it would make sense for her to trust him. A lot of details, a lot of potential for plot holes here. Maybe I could do like one like sometimes it only takes like one line to explain it. Oh yeah, because this is why. But anyway, he has the hat, so they go off. They run off. They go on the train, and it just takes them far up north. They manage to escape. But then that begs the question: if they were tracking Aura, would they track them? I don't know. But they manage to get on the train. Then they get way up north. Then they get on a boat, and this boat takes them to this island. So by this point, assuming they made it there, they're pretty far away from everyone. They're like neck deep in like the nature reserves where there's no humans allowed. But since she's Inuit, she has some like she has it's like a native reservation logic. She has access to this island, this remote island in the Arctic, and so it's just him and her. So they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know what's going to happen to Stu, if he'll ever be able to find him. They don't know what happened to Stu. They do not know what happened to Stu, if he got captured, if he's just hanging out. They don't know. But nonetheless, they like even if they're like they know that there's no cure and they're screwed and they fucked up and it's over, Quebec still needs to go into hiding. The reason why he doesn't the reason why he goes with Aura is because by this point he doesn't have anyone. He's blind. He kind of relies on Stu for so many little things, and without Stu, he's kind of fucked. And the agency is looking for him, so he needs to hide somewhere. So what better place than a remote island in the Arctic? So they kind of scratch each other's back. He gives her information that he stole. He's got like a flash drive or a floppy disk or some shit. He's got a bunch of documentation on the Aurora that she would never have been able to figure out on her own. And he has a place to crash. So he plays the housekeeper. He's the homemaker for the time being, while Aura does her research. And thanks to that flash drive, now she's able to make a new breakthrough. I'm trying to think. The idea I have so far is something along the lines of a dream state. It's kind of like the one that Quebec had, but he was blind, and he was in a coma for a while. Aura does something similar. She puts herself in a coma with like using like it's like a combination of the research, the hat, and their position, and that the fucking stars are aligned or some shit. She's able to do this experiment, and she like sees a flash of it. I don't know. I'm trying to. Once again, this is one of the many things that like I have a general idea of, but I haven't figured out the specifics yet. Especially when I'm trying to think of it off the top of my head. I have like a whole fucking list of like a million ideas, but yeah, she does the experiment, and that's where the mutations start. It's kind of like The Fly, where it's like one and done. He does something, and it starts a chain reaction. Like once her brain is tethered to the Aurora, now every time she dreams of the Aurora, and the dreams become more intense, and it starts to manifest physically. It starts off like with mental, like psychological symptoms. She's manic, she's hypomanic. And by this point, it's been like a month or so. So we're in we're getting closer to volume 2, where he's got like a little stubble, his hair's grown out a bit. She is manic, she's feeling really good. He's kind of like, I don't know about this. There's something seems a little fishy here. But at the same time, he's kind of gotten close to her. And in the same way that he latched on to Stu, he's starting to latch on to her now. They're both kind of broken people. Like, neither of them are really sound human beings. You take like two mentally fucked people, lock them in a cabin in the woods for an extended period of time, they kind of both go stir crazy together. Um, I'm trying to remember what happens. They start to get they start to get a little develop a romance there over time. They kind of latch onto each other, and that's culminates in volume 3. So by volume 2, they're already pretty much, or no, by the start of volume 3, they're kind of like on full throttle with being a couple and all that shit. But then the mutations get worse, and then she finds out she's pregnant, and then shit hits the fan even more. And so in volume 3, he doesn't know about anything yet. He doesn't know. He knows she's been acting a little strange, but he doesn't know that she's mutating or nonetheless pregnant. But she knows, and she doesn't really know what the fuck to do. So she kind of just isolates herself. And the whole time in volume 3, he's like kind of playing detective. He's finding little clues around the house, like little clumps of fur and teeth like in the sink. And eventually, like, he confronts her on this, and then he finds out, and then he's like, well, shit. Well, shit. So volume 4 is where now they both know, and they're just kind of miserable. They're just like absolutely fucking going insane. And a lot of time is a lot of emphasis is on the dreams. Her dreams become very vivid, like nightmarish and long, and she just continues to go fucking crazy. And he goes crazy just having to watch it. Um, and then there's other like side plots, like they both become alcoholics, but she can't drink, and he won't let her drink. But then he starts to drink, and that turns into an argument because obviously that's a bit of a double standard. Because why can he drink? And then they get into a fight, and then she like bites him on the arm, and then she runs off, and then she rips her face off and goes fucking crazy, and he goes after her, and that's where we get to volume 5. So volume 5 is where things get interesting. Once she rips off her face, once she fully embraces the Aurora says, "All right, here's a break. We'll give you a break. Enjoy some lucidity for the next, I don't know, like couple months." And for the first time, for whatever reason, she's just calm. She's totally calm. She's totally unfazed, and she's just fine. She's completely accepted it, and they just kind of live a normal life. Like by this point, she's like completely covered in fur. She's got a skull for a face, and she's got antlers and horns, completely unrecognizable. But she's totally fine. She's totally chill with it. By this point, she doesn't care. In fact, if anything, she slowly starts to see the Aurora as a sanctuary, exactly what she was looking for. Now, Quebec doesn't really understand what the fuck she's talking about, but it's just this vague implication that once you join the Aurora, you become this immortal entity, like a hive mind, and you can just forever be a part of something, and you'll never feel pain, you'll never lose any of your loved ones, and it's just you may or may not lose your autonomy and your sense of self, but at least you'll be alive, or you'll be something more. And at this point, she just fully embraces that, and Quebec's a little raising an eyebrow a bit here. This sounds a little fishy. Um, and then she says she's gonna like create a fucking gate, her own gate, kind of like Quebec's ancestors did, that caused the chain reaction that killed a bunch of people. She's gonna make her own, but this time it's gonna fucking work because she's talking to the Aurora. The Aurora is like literally injecting information into her brain, so now she knows exactly how to do it right, and she's gonna open a fucking portal to hell. It's gonna completely invert reality. And Quebec's like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. That seems a little extreme. Maybe don't. So the child by this point is like she's She runs off, and the mutation progresses like exponentially, and it's like fucking Bloodborne shit, where she turns into this giant fucking ferocious bear wolf like creature. A lot of people call it a Wendigo, and I'm gonna say right now, I never really thought about that. It was never my intention that it was a Wendigo. I am familiar with the Wendigo from folklore and particularly the game Until Dawn. But from what I understand, it's kind of not very accurate. Like it's not it's not the most accurate description because there is such there. Oh my god, there's real folklore with like certain indigenous communities where the Wendigo is a thing, and I can safely say this does not line up one to one with that. So for that sake, uh I'm gonna refrain from calling her a Wendigo. If anyone else wants to, that's fine, but I'm probably gonna avoid that. But yeah, by this point, she's like fully transformed, and she's basically just a fucking bear, and it just balls the fuck out of him. And he's trying to stop this crazy machine contraption that's gonna open a portal to hell. He takes the child, and the child is like the key to it. It's the catalyst. It's the talisman. The only reason it's gonna work. And he's like, I would like I understand that the kid is necessary, and I'm sure if you do this fucking crazy thing, the kid and you and everyone will ascend to the fucking Aurora realm or whatever the fuck. That sounds all nice and good, but I'm gonna say no to that. So he takes the child and runs off. And by this point, Aurora is like not human. She's not even there. She's just a mindless fucking beast that mauls him like an animal. Like there's nothing left in her. Her brain is turned to mush by this point. Um Except after and yeah, it's I'm trying to think he takes a child, he's running away, he's trying to hide from her, but he's blind, so he's got to like be very very fucking careful. But then the kid cries, it attracts her, and he just gets lucky. He holds like a sword or a staff or something. Once again, something I've dabbled with. I don't know if he makes a makeshift sword or something, or a spear or a staff, but he he impales her in the neck and it kills her. But the truth is that really her at this point? Because honest to God, by this point, that fucking beast is nothing more than the cocoon for her mental psyche. By this point, her mind, like the portal to hell closes, and her mind gets sucked into it, sort of. Like she is now part of it. Like she achieved that, but like she is part of the Aurora now. She's not dead in the grand scheme of things, just only in the physical sense, in the real world. But she's still around. She becomes one with the Aurora, which is what she wanted. That's kind of what she wanted, but she's disconnected from reality now. And until someone else makes a gate, she'll be trapped in the Aurora, for better or for worse. So Quebec lives. The child lives. Aura, we don't know what the fuck happened to her. She's presumed dead, but the truth is we don't know. So what happens after that is okay. That's the story of Borealis. That's the full story. That's the whole story. That's it. That's what I'm trying to. That's the story I'm trying to tell here. Which leads into the next one is Southpaw, and the main plot of that is they're trying to do the research again, and people learn about what happened, and they're like, hey, we could do that. We could make our own portal to hell, and we could use that to win wars and shit. And that's its own. That becomes its own story. And then the story after that is the final chapter, which is one I was really working on in college. That's called Australis or Australis. So, fun fact: in the northern hemisphere, it's called the Aurora Borealis, and in the southern hemisphere, like Antarctica and shit, it's called the Aurora Australis, which is different thing. But for oh my god, I don't know how much time I just spent trying to summarize. I like how this all started with me just talking about why he gets a haircut. Somehow, him getting a haircut turns into the biggest fucking lore dump I've ever given to anyone ever. So congratulations, you're there for that. Holy shit. But yeah, that story was like a year in the making. And it's a bit of a jagged mess. All right. I'm trying to look at what I've drawn here at this point. Hmm. Yeah. I do go on so many tangents. It's not too different from what I did even before I was streaming. I've always fucking talked to myself. I don't know why. That's just like I don't have a internal monologue in the traditional sense. I don't know. But talking to yourself is a nice way to fucking have ideas just stay out there. When you say something out loud, it sticks with you. I don't know why that is, but I think this is actual this is a real phenomenon. Like Abraham Lincoln, for whatever, like as one example, whenever he read the newspaper, he would read it out loud because he found that when he said it out loud, he retained that information better. Whereas if you just read it in your head, you're more likely to forget about it. So I guess it works out for me, given that I'm making these little archives. You know, I didn't really put too much effort into Volume 4. But yes, if you look through all of the drawings that I've posted on iFunny, you can probably piece together like my fucking lore dump, like which part goes where, what's happening when. Some ideas have probably come and gone. Um, Holy shit. So you have a story that's so like convoluted. How the fuck do you even break it down? And that's what I'm trying to do right now. So right now, I'm just trying to tell the story. Yeah, like I said, this was an origin story that was never supposed to be expanded upon so much, but here we are. But the silver lining is so she does return. She does return at some point. I can promise you that, and it's not just like a dumb fucking here's a fucking vision of her or some shit. No, she's fucking there. This isn't a dream. This isn't a flashback. She's gonna be there in person, standing on 2 feet. Um, I can't say she's gonna be one to one with her old self, but she's gonna be there. She's gonna have some shit to say. All right, this isn't gonna be some fucking blue bolt shit where it's like you want some fucking how you say resolution here, and the resolution is, oh, sometimes you just don't get what you want in life. You know, that's just how it is. That's the moral of the story. We got plenty of that in the first chapter. All right, when we get to like 3 arcs in, let's just give them something. Give them something. Like, can we stop with the bittersweet? shit for 2 fucking minutes. Holy boy. Holy moly. At some point, it'll all wrap up. It's definitely a shitty start. That's for sure, but it's not over. Well, that's the thing. She never left. She was always there. Nobody's ever really gone. Nobody's ever really gone. But what's funny is so her situation with the mutation, she's not the only one. In Australis, or sorry, Southpaw, the second story in the middle will combine some new shit. It'll add some new characters. It'll have hints and flavors of old characters. So yeah, this is us. Or, Jesus Christ, Borealis is what sets the stage. Southpaw expands on it, adds more detail, adds more context for the world and what's going on with it, and also some more shit happens, some new shit happens, and then it's very separate. So it's not going to be a very satisfying follow up. It's I could see it not being satisfying. People are going to see him. They're going to think, "What the fuck is this? Where's all the other characters? Who the fuck's this guy? Who are these people? Where's the other characters I've gotten so comfortable with?" Yeah, it's gonna be one of those for a bit, but then it'll ideally, assuming I can actually write characters well. My hope is that people will warm up to new characters, and then those new characters will cross over with old characters by the third story, Australis, where shit hits the fan again. And the truth is, Southpaw is probably the least developed because Southpaw is based on a story I made when I was in fucking high school. Um, it's kind of funny. So, like middle school, high school, college, and post college, post grad school, each kind of is focused on its own thing. Yeah, I see this little pop up that says YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. Ain't that a bitch? That's fine. Hope as long as the final product, or Jesus Christ, the VOD. I think that's what they call them, VODs. As long as the VOD is there in retrospect, I think it should be fine. I just okay. I accidentally adjusted my chair and it did something weird. But yeah, middle school. These characters were just doodles. That's what they were. They were funny characters that did funny shit. And then in high school, I started getting more serious. I wanted these characters to get more involved in shit. So I created Southpaw, which was which focused very heavily on the Canadian furries, as mentioned previously. Because I guess when I was even back then, I had this goal, and I wanted to make furries not weird. Well, I shouldn't say not weird, not cringe. Well, I shouldn't even say that. I don't know. I've never had an issue with furries. Truth be told, I've never had an issue with furries. I get that they're a bit off-putting, especially with different art styles. But when I say furry, and another problem is you say furry and people's immediate assumption is, oh, it's like a sex thing, but it's not. At the core, a furry, in the grand scheme of things, is just an anthropomorphic animal. That in the grand scheme of things, that's all it is. So, like, fucking, like technically speaking, Mickey Mouse is a furry. Bugs Bunny is a furry. Technically speaking, it's not intuitive, but it's kind of the same vibe of like like whether or not something is an anime based on whether it's made in Japan or if it just has that art style. It's kind of gray. Anyway, so it's a story of kind of like animal people of different races, and it was kind of isolated. And the stories that came after it and preceded it, they were just they were never meant to be these giant stories. They were kind of meant to just be foundational stuff. Um, you have Borealis with these characters, which was just an origin story I thought up at the time. And then you have Australis, which is if I ever made this, what would happen next? That's an idea for something that happens next. And then in college, I started working on Australis more. At the time, it wasn't called Australis, but that's the story of the offspring, the daughter. That's her story. That's where she does stuff with people and characters from Southpaw. And that, and then I'm trying to think. It wasn't until now, like 2024, I think was when I finally started. You know, there was a brief period, like I'm trying to think, like 2023. I think the 2023 was without a doubt the most depressing and miserable year of my life because I just got out of college and my number one priority was finding a job. And and funny how that works. When you graduate college with no exact with no experience aside from internships and undergraduate research, it's kind of hard to get a job. So like I think like it took me like 9 months to finally get me like a relevant job. And in that whole time I was stressed the fuck out. And I was not thinking of the story. I just kind of gave up on it. There was probably several points in that year where I thought to myself, "Man, I can't believe I ever thought I was going to make a story." But I'm at that age now where I'm never going to do it again. Little did I know I would go in like full throttle like a year later. Um yeah, you could probably see the history of that too if you went on. I shouldn't. Okay, I take that back. I shouldn't say that I did nothing in 2023. In the summer of 2023, I was since I was still looking for a job. I was doing some babysitting for a relative of mine, and while I was doing the babysitting, I was working on a side project, which was an animation. And I think I uploaded it to iFunny. It's this little cartoon where a guy is like getting a vending machine. It was supposed to be a parody of this SCP that the Japanese the black Japanese vending machine that spits out random shit, and I never got around to finishing it. I don't know why. I think I just got bored of it or I got depressed and gave up. Every now and then I think about going back to it. Maybe. But yeah, I did that for a summer and then it was back to work. Then I took another hiatus from creative projects. But yeah, this is the first creative project where I've like gotten really serious. Like I'm talking like for a while. Like it comes and goes depending on my mood state, but like every day, like 4 hours a day, I come home and I draw every day, nonstop. Like it's basically a second job. It's a